Welcome back to our channel, Soap fans. Today is a beautifully chaotic day in the daytime television world, and we are diving headfirst into the absolute madness that has taken over our time. Grab your coffee and get comfortable because we have a lot of ground to cover today. I am sitting here at 2 in the morning, the glow of my laptop lighting up my living room, and I am absolutely spiraling down a massive rabbit hole of forum posts, tweets, and group chat. I just finished watching the latest episode, but my mind isn't even on the actual plot. It is entirely focused on the gossip. Because we need to talk about this rumor that has been setting the General Hospital fandom on fire for the past 48 hours. Apparently, it has been on a lot of people's minds, and my notifications have not stopped buzzing since the whispers. Clearly, we are talking about the explosive rumor suggesting Maurice Bernard, who plays the legendary Sonny Corinthos on our hit ABC soap, might have way more of a say about who stays and who goes than any of us would ever. Can we talk about this? Seriously, can we just pause and unpack the sheer magnitude of what is being alleged here? I have been watching this show religiously since 2015, and honestly, even before I became a daily viewer, I knew the lore. General Hospital has basically been Sonny's hospital for the better part of 25 years. We all know it. We all joke about it We all make the memes about how the mob always wins, and the police department is just a decorative set. But when you really stop and look at the canvas, it makes you wonder about the actual mechanics of how this show is run. Does Maurice Bernard really have this kind of ultimate Thanos snap control over the casting department? There is massive speculation suggesting that Maurice might have more of a say about casting behind the scenes than some people might. And while I know this is just an internet rumor and we have to take everything with a grain of salt, some General Hospital fans think a lot of actors resign from their roles, or they don't sign their contracts again, or they mysteriously have their scenes cut down to nothing simply because Maurice supposedly finds a problem with actors who appear to be gaining equal or more popularity as his character, according to one source close to the situation. I can't even believe I am typing this out, but am I the only one who has been thinking this for years? I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist right now, but you have to look at the historical pattern. Whenever a new male lead comes in and starts getting a little too much buzz, a little too much fan love, their storylines suddenly stall. They get written into corners. They get turned into villains, or they just quietly fade into the background until their contract expires and they put out a generic PR statement about pursuing other opportunities. And we, the fans, are left sitting on our couches wondering why the writers ruined a perfectly good character. But what if it wasn't the writers? What if it was a mandate from the top because the star of the show felt threatened? But wait, I am getting ahead of myself. I need to take a breath and look at both sides of this, because the fandom is completely fractured over this rumor. The forums are an absolute bloodbath. People are violently defending Maurice, and I completely understand why. He is a daytime legend. He has given his blood, sweat, and tears to this role. He has acted the hell out of Sonny's bipolar storylines and brought so much raw, visceral emotion. So when this rumor dropped, many GH fans certainly did have a lot to say about the matter on social media, rushing to his. Some fans even commented with things like, he has not had any real BTS power in at least a decade. Neither does Steve Burton. Those days are long gone. Did they used to have some influence on casting and their stories? Yes. So did Tony Geary, Jeannie Francis, and others. And look, I totally get that argument. I really do. Did the veterans used to have massive influence? Absolutely. We all know the stories about Tony Geary. The legendary Luke Spencer famously threw his weight around behind. He dictated his storylines, he chose his scene partners, and he basically ran his own little fiefdom within the show. Jeannie Francis had her own massive clout as Laura. That was the era of the soap superstar, where the actors were bigger than the show itself. But is that era truly dead? Are those days really long gone, like that commenter suggested? I am incredibly skeptical. Sure, the budgets are tighter now. The network executives have a tighter grip on the purse strings, and no one is getting the kind of blank checks they got in the 1990s. But power isn't always about money. Power is about influence. Power is about knowing that you are the face of the franchise. When you are Maurice Bernard, and your character's name is entirely synonymous with the General Hospital brand, you have leverage. If Maurice walks into Frank Valentini's office and says, I don't vibe with this guy, do you really think the producers are going to tell Sonny Corinthos to suck it up and deal with it? No way. They are going to appease their star. That is just Hollywood 101. You keep the cash cow happy. And let's not pretend Maurice is some innocent, passive bystander who just clocks in, reads his lines, and goes home. What is really going on with Maurice Bernard behind? Well, another critic on the forums brought up a fantastic point, writing, Maurice admits in his book he has been difficult on co-stars, including Tamara Braun, And it's pretty common knowledge he sees himself as an acting mentor even if people did not ask him for his advice, especially with the younger actors. Okay, let's unpack that, because this is the stuff that drives me crazy. He literally admitted in his own published memoir that he was difficult. Remember the Tamara Braun era? She was an incredible Carly. She brought this fierce, raw, vulnerable energy to the role after Sarah Brown left, and the chemistry she had with Maurice was electric. But behind the scenes, Maurice himself confessed that he gave her a hard time. He owned up to it, which, okay, I guess we can applaud the self-awareness and the personal growth, but it establishes a definitive pattern of behavior. It proves that he has historically used his veteran status to intimidate, test, or control the dynamic on set with his scene partner. And then there is the whole acting mentor. Oh my god, do not even get me started on it. It is widely known in the soap community that Maurice views himself as the ultimate acting guru of Port Charles. He takes these younger actors under his wing, especially the ones playing his kids, his mob enforcers, or the new cops, and he gives them unsolicited advice. Like, I am sure it comes from a good place. I really truly am. I don't think he is doing it to be malicious. But imagine being a young actor in your 20s, fresh to the soap world, just trying to hit your marks, find your lighting, and remember 30 pages of dialogue a day. And the veteran star of the show, the man whose face is on the side of the building, is constantly pulling you aside to mentor you when you didn't even ask for it. It has to be utterly exhausting. It creates this incredibly weird, uncomfortable power dynamic where you constantly feel like you have to kiss the ring. Literally kissing the mob boss's ring in real life. If you accept his advice and stroke his ego, you are in the club. You get the good scene. You get the protective bubble of the Corinthos clan. But if you politely decline, if you want to find your own process, suddenly you are labeled as difficult. And maybe, just maybe, Maurice finds a problem. It is a psychological minefield for these younger actors. But I have to contradict myself here, because I am so emotional and I'm literally figuring out my thoughts as my fingers. Because then there was this other comment that made me pause. There's drama BTS on every TV show, movie. It's unavoidable with that large of a group of people working together. I've seen so many snarky comments about how MB wouldn't allow certain actors to come back. I seriously doubt it's his decision. And honestly, that person is right too. There is drama on every television set in existence. It is completely unavoidable. You put 50 highly attractive, highly emotional, sleep-deprived actors in a freezing cold studio in Los Angeles for 12 hours a day, working at a breakneck pace, and you are going to get friction. Egos are going to clash. Personalities are going to rub each other the wrong way. It is just human nature. So when fans make these snarky, definitive statements about how Maurice won't allow certain actors to return, part of me thinks it is just the fandom, looking for an easy. We love to have a villain to blame when our favorite characters get written off. And since Sonny is a ruthless mobster on screen, it is incredibly easy to project that persona onto Maurice and paint him as a mobster behind. But then I look at the current state of the show, and my frustration just boils over all over again. Look at the storylines we are watching right now. Sonny is supposedly leaving the mob. He is bidding on Jen Sidwell's seized properties. He is trying to legitimize himself. He is sitting on the General Hospital board right next to Tracy Quarterman. It is a massive, fundamental shift for the character. But even when Sonny is supposedly stepping back and trying to be a legitimate businessman, he is still the absolute, undeniable center of the universe. He is pulling strings with Brick to ruin Carly and Valentine's romance just because he is jealous. He is having these intense, emotional heart-to-hearts with Rocco about the color. He is cornering ADA Justine Turner and giving her terrifying ultimatums about their secret. The entire town still revolves around his moods, his decisions, and his approval. It always has. So if a new actor comes in, gets a massive fan following, and threatens to pull focus from that established dynamic, yeah, I can totally see the BTS machine working to minimize that threat, whether it is a direct order from Maurice or just the producers preemptively protecting their stars. I'm sorry, but it is frustrating as a longtime fan. I love Sonny. I really do. I have watched him battle his demons, I have cried during his mental health storylines, and I respect the hell out of Maurice. But I also want to see other people shine. I want to see the hospital staff actually do medical things without the mob interfering or funding the wing. I want to see the Quartermain scheme in the boardroom without having to bend the knee to a coffin. When Maurice supposedly finds problems with actors gaining popularity, it robs us of new legacy characters. It prevents the show from evolving. It keeps Port Charles stuck in this perpetual 1990s mob loop that we can never, ever escape. And what about Steve Burt? The commenter mentioned him too, saying Steve doesn't have power either. Jason is back in town, and the dynamic between Maurice and Steve is legendary. They are best friends in real life. They do podcasts together. They tour together. Steve comes back to the show, and boom, he is instantly thrust right back into the A storyline, dealing with the WSB black site trauma, taking the fall for Rocco, and interacting heavily with Sonny. Maurice clearly loves working with Steve. He loves working with Laura Wright. He loves his core, trusted group of actors. And maybe that is the real, uncomfortable truth. It's not that Maurice maliciously marches into the executive offices and demands people get fired. It's that he has a highly protective, exclusive bubble of favor. If you are in that bubble, you are golden. You get the screen time, you get the emotional beats, you get the Emmy reel. But if you aren't in that bubble, if you don't naturally fit into the Corinthos clan vibe, or if you push back against the unsolicited mentoring, the writers just stop writing. You get left out in the cold because Maurice doesn't actively advocate for you the way he advocates for his friends. And in the soap world, if the star isn't advocating for you, you are basically invisible to the writer. So far, the producers of the soap have not made any comments about the matter, and let's be real, they never will. Frank Valentini is not going to hop on social media and release a statement saying, "Actually, Maurice makes all the casting decisions, thanks for asking." At this point, it is highly doubtful that anything official will be said. They are going to let the rumors swirl, they are going to let the fans fight in the comment sections, and they are going to keep the PR machine completely silent. Because as long as we are talking about General Hospital, as long as we are passionately arguing about the BTS politics, we are engaged. We are tuning in to see if we can spot the real-life tension, but I am telling you, watch this space. I have a gut feeling there's so much more to come regarding when contracts start coming up for renewal later this year. I want everyone to pay very close attention to who suddenly decides to pursue other opportunities, or who decides to spend more time with their family. If a fan-favorite actor who has been stealing scenes suddenly vanishes from the canvas with a generic goodbye tweet, we are all going to know exactly what happened behind those closed studio doors. I know some people are loving this drama, living for the messy gossip, but personally, it just makes me exhausted. It ruins the illusion of the show. When I watch Sonny glare at someone on screen now, I'm going to be wondering if Maurice is glaring at the actor in real life. I want to lose myself in Port Charles, but this BTS rumor just pulls the curtain back way too far. I need to get some sleep, but my brain is just going to be spinning with these theories. Will Port Charles ever break free from the mob's grip? Or is Sonny's reign truly eternal? Drop your wildest BTS theories in the comments below, and hit that subscribe button for more soap.